Hello and welcome back to this new video of Bootstrap, and today we're going to look into Bootstrap Multiplayer, how to play Bootstrap correctly. You can play it any way you want, but this is really how I build up in the game of Bootstrap, in the 1v1 match or even in a 2v2 match. This build order in a way will help you advance in your overall gameplay. And yeah, if you want more general advice on gameplay, there's already a video about that linked in the video description, as well as how to install the setup. And yeah, on this little map here from Lord Hunefooter, one of our famous Bootstrap players, he has built it with the mirror tool from Gynt, probably also linked, I'm not sure. But yeah, many of the mechanics that really make Bootstrap are visible and playable. And I think it's really an overall good 1v1 map to demonstrate how to build up. And yeah, one thing in Bootstrap, we have a big rebalance patch, so many things are rebalanced in our gameplay. I will look over some of them, but maybe you can watch out for resource costs of my buildings and stuff, and the market prices through the gameplay. If I forget something, yeah, just ask in the comments about what exactly the balance changes are. And you can also look up the balance changes, of course, in the changelog that is also linked in the GitHub repository where all of our Bootstrap stuff is shared. Anyways, yeah, let's look into this. And we are starting with 0 gold start, no starting troops, no starting stone. 100 wood is only what we have for resources, and 25 of each food type, and our lord, of course. So, let's begin. And what you always want to do first, you want to start with your granary. If through apple orchards really very efficient for their price. And get those houses early on, get taxation going. Because we have all 4 food types, we can get -4. We can get a stone quarry right from the start, which is very important since stone is the key enabling. Yeah, okay, we lost our opportunity to season these farms. Seasoning the farms makes them almost double as efficient. But yeah, as we are producing fruits and meat very soon, we can sell some and we can get these farms seasoned very soon. Let's get one more hunter, I think. And I want to wait with my stockpile, the repositioning, until the farms are seasoned. I can also buy one more times wood for getting the mercenary post. And what is really advised at the beginning, harass your opponent, yeah? Start harassing your opponent with slaves. Oh shit, I can't forget this time. Yes. No. Ah, damn it. Yeah, it's a bit too late, but we don't worry too much. In an actual game, you want to season it perfectly. Seasoning perfectly means you wait until the green of the farm starts, and then you place the next farm. So they can collect fruits from the other farm spots. You also sell more food in the beginning for gold, if you need any gold. Yeah, we can see they are waiting for our new stockpile here. I like to get 4 or 6 tiles of stockpile, that's usually enough. And we want to place it closer to our main production facilities, which in this case is the iron. Start slowly advancing with stone production. You can see we already have the first stone delivery coming in, so we can place the second oxen to not take the stone too much parallel from the stockpile. We want it to be as efficient as possible and deliver as early as possible. You also want to defend your economy, of course, from enemy raids that might hit now, while your first wood deliveries are coming in. And after you sold some food, as you can see, you have some gold, and the first stone delivery is exactly enough for 3 polytoners if you want to get them. They cost only 4 stone. Yeah, we also get an armory, and you also want to get fletchers early on. So let's get that. That is usually the first gold investment that you do, and you of course do more gold investment for defending your economy, of course. Like defending the quarries usually is the main thing here. What we want to do is attack our opponent's quarries. And yeah. Now with all of the wood coming in, you want to expand your wood incoming economy, of course. Get as much wood as possible. Usually it's scarce and runs out rather quickly. So you want to manage to get as much of the wood on the map as possible before your opponent snacks all of that wood. And Yeah, another thing. Soon as the next stone deliveries are coming in, yeah, you might want to buy some wood. Sometimes I'm running out of wood, even though I have a lot of wood production already. I'm not sure why, but it's just my habit, I guess. Yeah, and with the next stone deliveries, you always want to have the barracks. Get the barracks so you can get more efficient troops. And these are, in this case, the spearmen and the archers. Yeah, and if you can mode off areas of the map, always try to do that. Otherwise, you might later spend some stone into small walls to enclose your castle area. That is making you way safer against raids. In this case, some of the maps have protection from modding, because modding is kind of OP. In this case, you can see there's swamp and you cannot mode swamp, but you can enclose the keep here with this wall. Yeah, get more slingers and defend your castle really at every side. If you are attacked heavily already with enemy spearmen and archers, you always want to get more archers yourself. And what you can also do is by investing early into beer to be more self-sufficient. You can sell the first pitch there, and even the first iron that is coming in usually is getting sold. Let's get the iron mines that are close by. Yeah, we want to always have the maximum stone output from these quarries delivered to the stockpile. You can see we already have a lot of stone here. And the first stone, besides that, can of course go into more weapon production like this. I'm getting some... I'm selling some spears here and getting some Tanas already. Tanas really well worth in this kind of scenario. And getting the first wheat farms, because we definitely want to transition into this bread economy later on. Yeah, what you also want to do with the first stone is mentioned, you want to get some gates. And you might want to even get some small towers. Like, this is a beginner's friendly guide. Of course, you can try to defend without these defensive structures, but for beginners I would really advise getting some defensive structures, because this makes your life way easier. And if you want to deal with the archer harass on the map, get some shields. And if you have enough wood, you can even get some siege tower to unlock more map areas. Like in this case, for example, here is a small wall here outside of build range, and with this wall you could place a siege tower against it, and siege towers cost now 40 wood, so they're really like a wood sink for your economy, and you can unlock more areas of the map. In this case, these iron mines. You can see the workers couldn't get these to these iron mines, but the siege tower doesn't need any engineers. It can just attach to the wall and make a path here. Of course, your opponent can try to take it down, but yeah. Yeah. Anyways, in the early game, you're usually pushing with archers and spearmen. You can see I'm building a lot more spear productions here, and I'm selling the first iron to get more fletchers. And you even want to get some using crossbows. Now with enough wood and stone, you always want to get your inns going rather quickly. You can even sell some spears for that. Yeah, spears are also good to just sell, you know. That's why I'm doing just that right now. And yeah, let's get some shields. Archer setup here in the middle to annoy our opponent. Because we want to usually spend more time in the fights. And yeah, that's really the main thing of Bootstrap. Like, fighting is going on 100% of the time. It's kind of stressful, but it's also the charm. You have action right from the start. Like, there's no build-up period where you just follow a script of build-up. No, you just have to really get into the game and fight. Fight for your life, fight for yourself. We can see we're running low on food. And one thing I can advise, even before your wheat economy is hitting, I can advise you to just build up some bread economy already, and even buy some wheat if necessary to get that early food. On some maps, it's really hard to get safe farmland. So yeah. Also, with this farmland here, you can only build apple orchards and cheese farms on this, because some of the farm spots are not for wheat. Only these two farm spots here house wheat farms in close vicinity. And so we really want to get the most out of every farm spot. In this case, we can only get apple farms. That's why we want to season them so well. Anyways, now transitioning into the mid game. If we had some popularity, this is a really bad example here. I did definitely invest too late, but it's mostly because I talked too much and I had too much population already. And now the ints should hit, so we should have some popularity coming back. I'm buying some food here just in case. Of course, we can also harass our opponent a bit. Early game, you want to invest more into mercenaries until you get enough weapons here, and you usually get the weapons economy. With horse archers, you can clean out some small archer spots as well, if they don't hide behind shields like the ones that we sent in here do. Let's get these pitch rigs going. Yeah, I usually also want to zoom out while playing. Way more efficient for your overall control. And we still have no recruits, as you can see. Okay. Yeah, also inefficient woodcutters later on that don't produce any wood anymore. Just delete them. Get rid of them. They usually don't do any good, they just eat your food. And make sure you're not letting them harass you with that. You can also unlock some of the farm spots sometimes by cutting down trees or hunting deer. In this case, there are 2 wheat farms over here. And there's also sometimes some neutral obstacles that you have to get out of the way. And if you have some slingers or archers left over, you can, of course, just attack that. If you're lazy and you don't want to buy hops all the time, you can, of course, also buy, get a hops farm. But usually the wheat farms are still more efficient than the hops farms. It's just, if you don't want to buy anything and you want to focus more on other things, get a hops farm, it's easier to manage. Yeah, with now going into the mid game, you can see we have lots of stone. We want to start building these mazes. And yeah, get like usually before you unlock all of these iron mines, you can get for the first 3 or 4 iron mines, you can like get 1 or 2 blacksmiths each, depending on the closeness. And you also, of course, want to buy more wood if you don't have the wood income. I always struggle with the wood income, as you can see. Yeah, and there's some game-winning tactics in the mid game with pushing with a lot of spears, pushing with a lot of macemen. And macemen really the transition to mid game. With macemen out, your little archer groups on the map are no longer safe. Spearmen they can still deal with efficiently, but macemen are just running them over. Macemen are really powerful with the rebalance. And yeah, buying maces and buying iron weapons in general is way more expensive. So you definitely want to produce these if possible. And you want to produce leather harnesses as well, but if you don't have access to a dairy spot, just buy the leather armor. And yeah, you can of course mix in with your archers. And yeah, some spearman pushes like this. One of the best defenses against it is to get your own archers, like spam a lot of archers definitely. And get some melee troops to tank. You can of course get some space, yeah, let's say this. Get some Arabian swordsmen. They are really strong as well in the rebalance, but they only do well in defense really. Pushing with them is too slow usually to make any sense. You can try it, but it's not advised in my opinion. Don't forget to tax to the fullest, to your fullest potential here. And yeah, what else do you do to deal with these mason pushes? Of course, this is not enough. To deal the real damage, you want to have some dogs out, yeah? So you want to have some dog cages. And you can even sell some stone if necessary for a quick defense and buy some of these dog cages. These dogs, they do very well against light armor troops, especially against macemen and spearmen. So in case we have like demonstrated this here. We get macemen and crossmen, by the way, cost 25 gold. They are more powerful, so they also have to cost a bit more, but it's just a small change here. Yeah, these dog cages, they slay. I can tell you, they are really, really strong. docks do very well with the rebalance, and you shouldn't underestimate them. Yeah? Like they are not a force to be reckoned with, I guess. Yeah, we can also see there are some lines here. We want to clear them out in this case. Also clear these lines and expand into other stone production spots. Always look out for gaining more map control in Bootstrap. Map control is the way to win the game. And yeah, the more map control you have, the more pressure you can exert on your opponent, the more resources you can get. The easier you win, the easier time you will have. It's really just that simple. Yeah, let's kill some of these lines over here as well. Let's see, we have a big economy already. Don't forget to expand your beer production and buy more hops if necessary, if you haven't set up a hops farm yet. And get those bread economy going. Bread economy, one of the best ways to generate gold in the mid game. Later on you want to mainly rely on selling weapons. So let's simulate. Okay, so one of the winning tactics, as said, is these strong spear mace pushes, and you want to put them in different control groups. Because they run individually, but they don't run if you put them together in one control group. That way you can overrun your opponent. Like, let's just put them here and let them die off to simulate that we pushed our opponent. And yeah. With now the mid game basically fully working, you want to switch some of your fletchers and create more fletchers, of course. To switch them, you can even sell bows. Bows are not sell worthy too, if you have too many of them. Switch some of these into crossbows and switch your mace productions into sword productions. And now you really need to sell some of your excess iron and stuff and buy a lot of wood if you need. If usually at this point you're running out of wood on the main map and you really need to start buying the wood. Don't worry about that too much. There's not more pitch here, I don't know. Yeah, that should be all the pitch. And now you want to build armors. Armors are really the most space and cost efficient production facility for getting these getting those juicy gold economy worth armors. Selling armors is really worth, and you can also switch your spearman production facilities to pikes if you want. Really drive the point home in getting these late game units, because now this is the transition into late game. Really don't want to sell too much iron anymore, because you want to produce as much armors out of them as possible. And you can see one armor alone costs 20 stone, 20 wood and 150 gold. These are the most expensive weapon production buildings that you can get. And because you're switching your crossbowmen, like your fletchers to crossbows, and your mace production to swords, you really don't you still have a use for these leather armor, and you don't really waste any weapons if you want to produce units like this. Of course, you can start to sell the first weapons that come in to generate more gold. And what else is advised? Like, if you need more stone, just buy it. But yeah, if you can gather more stone on the map, like put more stone quarries on the map and gather from that if possible. Yeah, there isn't too many stone spots here on this map, but it's usually enough to have like 3 or 4 stone quarries around to transition into that late game. And you don't really want to sell stone anymore, because stone is really the enabler for all of your economy buildings. Now getting the cathedral. Let's get the cathedral here. And one more patch of stone. It needs 40 stone and 250 wood. And the church again also costs 25 stone. It's really worth to just get it for the popularity boost. Usually if you have enough fruit production, you can go now to half rations and still tax with -8, which is the most efficient tax rate. And yeah, you really want to sell more weapons. And yeah, one of the late, so there's multiple late game units, right? So to counter these spearmen, macemen pushes, I told you, get archers, get these early units from macemen, get the dog cages. But if you have already production for swordsmen, swordsmen are really good at dealing with macemen. Getting those swordsmen, getting some pikemen as well, they die like... They basically don't die. Like, they have so much health. They take ages to kill. They can tank for your dogs, they can tank for your archers. So supplement your units with these. Put them in some choke point locations where you can tank and defend against these pushes. And yeah, that's really the main thing. Also try to advance, always get more map areas under control here. Push into your economy, like your opponent basically. And yeah. When you do that, you get a lot of stone, you get a lot of wood. You can also go into knights. And knights, yeah, of course monks, you can also get monks first because we already built a cathedral. Cathedral is kind of like a first late game building really. Cathedral, getting monks into these locations. Monks also do well against spearmen and macemen, of course, no question, but usually don't have access to them when the push hits. If the push hits and you have access to them, the enemy is really too late. Yeah, in the late game, get these stables here. These are 40 wood, 40 stone, and 400 gold. This is really expensive. Like, this is the most expensive building in the game right now. Maybe the cathedral is as expensive, but yeah, this is so expensive. You really can't afford it if you don't have the economy already. And maybe you can afford one and start harassing your opponent early with like a few knights. That might be worth it. But always look out for having this impact, because this is not really advised as long as your opponent has mass spearmen out on the map and deal with it well. You want to usually go into mid game first before you start pushing with these knights, and then it's really advised to first like get a few knights, push out and kill all the outside economy. This is a huge loss of wood for your opponent. He will have to buy a lot of wood himself, and yeah, that is really giving him a hard time. And later on, there's the tactic to amass a knight armada, which is super expensive, of course. But if you can pull it off and you have the advantage, you might be able to win the game with this alone already. Let's buy some more hops here and get some more inns, because we are transitioning to even higher population economy. You can see we have we are overbuilding on armorers. And yeah, if we have all the, like we still don't have enough stone. You can see, like, I'm buying stone right now, and that is because I'm selling these iron weapons here. And yeah, it's really advised to just get knights instead of swordsmen if you can. Knights cost 80 gold, swordsmen cost 60. They are really expensive both, but knights definitely worth if you have the stables for it. And knights, yeah, if you have a big armada of knights, let's simulate this really quick. Yeah, if you have a big armada of knights, you can run your opponent over really easily. And you can even push these outside locations like these and get them rolling. And also what you want to do is you want to slowly set up little siege spots on the map around your opponent's castle. Basically, usually they have a castle like this, right? And you want to be out in the range to just hit some crucial buildings. Like, these stables here are very forward, right? My opponent would be easily able to take him out if necessary with trebuchets. And I really advise also to do that if possible, to build like a few trebuchets around. Trebuchets also not only 150 gold, but really expensive now. And so you need to have these extra weapons to sell so that you can afford to get these siege units. Siege units, so gold intensive. Still getting lions. Wait, there's some lions. They're getting something here. So where? Yeah, you have of course your little spots of archers and crossbowmen on the map to control the area, right? And yeah, basically what you want to do is set not only these up, but also set up these little leverage positions with the trebuchets. They cost 250 gold and 20 stone. So that is a lot. You can see now we are really struggling for stone at this point. We have bought a lot of stone already, and we've built these stables for the stone. We haven't really used much of it. yeah, don't overbuild on swordsmen. That is another key hint from here. Instead, build a lot of monks if you need more melee units, and invest those extra coins into economy and into pushing your opponent. Like, I'm getting more armors for sure, because armors sell for such a high amount of gold, and I really need to buy more stone. You can see that, right? Exactly. Yeah, we have yeah, we're now setting up basically a siege force around the map. And what you want to do, you don't want to sell your pitch anymore, you want to use it for fire ballistas. Don't overbuild on fire ballistas either. And because, yeah, why wouldn't you overbuild on fire ballistas, and why wouldn't you overbuild on like swordsmen and pikemen? The main reason are catapults. Catapults, of course, also more expensive now, but they still do one hit, one kill, and that way they can easily deal with these kind of troops here. And catapults also cost 10 stone and 150 gold, which is huge. So yeah, sell those iron weapons instead. Get catapults. It's usually worth it, right? So let's see here, getting these catapults, and yeah, getting up, setting up a siege force. How to set up a total siege force, I don't really think you need to know that much about it. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Just set up those siege engines behind a wall of shields. What you also want to do, maybe against your opponent, you can of course build some towers. Towers now more expensive, but they also tank a little bit more, because they also need that. In the mid game, towers are really worth to defend against these, like setting up these archers on the towers, defending against these spearmen and macemen, because they cannot really take down the towers as quickly, because they have more health. You can see, for example, this tower alone has 2000 health now, which is the same amount as the big round tower has had before. And let's demonstrate by building one of these. This tower now has 4500 health, but also costs 75 stone. And this is because these siege engines also, like, they are so strong. Ballistas and mangonels. And if they would be cheaper, they would usually be spammed. Like, you could just spam a mangonel tower force and the game would never end, right? And this way we prevent the game from dragging out too long. But also, these are very valuable. Like, ballistas, for example, they deal well with shields. An open fight on the map with a big siege force with shields cannot really withstand the mass firing of. We need to sell some weapons here real quick. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they cannot really withstand the abuse from these ballistas. So you really want to have a trebuchet force somewhere on the map where they can hide, maybe behind a cliff. Stay from these ballistas to kill these towers quickly. And yeah, these are also more efficient to repair with the higher stone price. But yeah, this tower only has half the health of this. So you can see it's often worth to build the big round tower, even though it costs 75 stone. I think that's so much for the explanation here. The fire ballistas cost pitch, as you have seen. Don't overbuild them. Also leverage the high ground position if possible. Wherever possible, get the map advantage to your own advantage, and try to encroach slowly on all sides of your opponent's castle until you have that finally, like, have his economy run down and have finally this really big push to just crush him with a main army. You can always advance with pikemen first to get out the dog cages from your opponent, and also set off possible pitch traps. Conquer some towers. They are also dealing a lot of damage against towers, even though towers have a lot of health. Pikemen are still doing quite well, I would say. And yeah, what else is there to speak about? Of course, if you don't have as much space as I have here in the late game, you want to build negative fear factor to get more economy. But yeah, more on that maybe in another episode here. We have a lot of gold here, which is not really a lot if you see how much I can spend on these units alone here. It's insane. And yeah, the stone and wood, don't get fooled, you really need it. Don't sell too much of these resources. Always keep some stone, keep some iron, keep some pitch in stockpile. Ah yeah, and there's also another change to the siege ram, which is important. Siege rams now can be used to supplement your melee army. Against catapults, of course, they do very like not well. But if they are in your melee army with the shields and everything, they can tank a lot of melee hits. Like these are now kind of melee tanks. They still get killed by ranged quite well, but against melee units they are doing just fine, I would say. And they can even withstand some knight abuse. Yeah, anything else that I've missed? I don't think so. Stay safe. Play well. We have too many ins here. Not necessary for this amount. With 9 ins we could feed 270 population. Usually about 200 population is kind of the maximum that we're going for in these kind of games. Much more is not necessary to keep up your production. But of course you can try, yeah. And yeah, I will see you on the battlefield in the next multiplayer stream. Usually we stream on weekends. There's also a Discord linked in the description where you can check out other players and try to find other players for the games that we are playing. And yeah, if you have any questions, about the balance, let me know and I'll see you then. Bye for now.